My name is Ashley Abraham and I'm from Canada. I'm currently pursuing my second master's in child life in California. And during my time as a child life practicum student volunteer in Toronto and Dallas, I witnessed firsthand the impact that certified child life specialists have on children and their families. It touched my heart to see the smiles on children's faces despite everything that they were going through. And in order to make a direct impact on children, I wanted to be that person to advocate for and support children to help them cope during what may be one of the most difficult times of their lives. Most people overlook the direct impact that illness and hospitalization can have on children's development, and in the busyness of a doctor's day, they may overlook the sympathy and effort to explain to a child what they're going through and what needs to be done in order for them to get well. Although they may explain medically what's going on, they lack explaining information in a developmentally age appropriate way, like certified child life specialists can. Mind over matter is a statement that has never been more true when it pertains to the field of child life, and being psychosocially equipped and having the right perspective can change the direction of a child's life. And this is what drove me to become a child life specialist so I can make the constant impact daily in the lives of children. An interaction that I had from practicum that I learned from was with an 11-year-old patient who would come to the dialysis unit 3 times a week. His family consisted of his mother, teenage brother, however, he was receiving dialysis at the hospital and he was alone all the time. So the patient tended to sleep during his dialysis treatment and often refused to engage in activities with the child life specialist or other professionals. And additionally, at that time, CPS was involved with the patient and had been coming in to have conversations with him. And so, what I learned right away was that he was a typically developing 11-year-old. He was a school age patient, which means he's in the concrete operational stage of development. And we know that in this stage, children are aware of what's going on and can attach concepts to concrete situations. So in this case, the patient was very aware of what was going on in terms of his diagnosis and his treatment, as he had been receiving dialysis for several years of his life. And I also learned right away, based on his development as a school age child, stressors that he may have been facing. So, in this case, the medical diagnosis itself was a large stressor due to the frequency of treatment. There's a lack of control, movement, and restriction as he's attached to the machine for several hours at a time. Nutrition is also a large stressor for this patient, as a strict diet needs to be followed for patients who are on dialysis because they need to maintain certain levels of phosphorus and potassium. Pain in relation to the dialysis treatment being administered, lack of socialization, and concerns about what others think of him, especially friends, could also be stressors. For this patient, a unique stressor was his safety needs because there were concerns about the patient's security in terms of how he's being treated or cared for by his family. In addition to this, his love and belonging needs may have also been a stressor as the patient was alone during treatment and he may have felt a sense of loneliness. So, overall, I knew that I needed to look at this patient in the lens of Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. And according to Maslow, there are several needs that need to be met in order to reach self actualization. And these needs are physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, self esteem, and these all lead to self actualization, as stated before. And as a result, I needed to help that patient reach self actualization, which in the hospital is coping. And so, since the patient often slept and didn't want to engage in activities, I needed to look beyond this and make sure that his needs were met in these areas in order for him to cope effectively. And so, I made it my mission to build rapport with this patient and complete an activity with him. And so I began to slowly build rapport with him by having conversations and learning about his interests. And throughout this process, I was successfully able to complete an activity with him. And since that day, he was able to reach out to me and engage in other activities. So I learned that meeting all these needs helped him effectively cope. So, for strategies to build quick rapport, so I assess the room and gain an idea of a patient's interest. So, for example, if I see a Paw Patrol book laying in the room or a Paw Patrol character, I ask them who their favorite character is and have a conversation from there. If a patient's playing a video game, for example, I would ask them what they're playing, maybe how to play it so we can get that conversation going. For patients who don't seem to want to talk, or if the conversation doesn't seem to be going anywhere, I put the conversation back on them by asking them to tell me, for example, 2 facts about themselves or 2 fun facts about themselves and go on from there. Again, I'm Ashley Abraham. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you.